Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how CEOs, founders, and senior executives sell their ideas, point of view, and personal brand to the people who matter most. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want to build market eminence, amplify your influence, and attract high-value prospects, investors, partners, talent, and media opportunities with less chasing and more confidence. Let's go.
I'm here with my buddy, David Newman. Everybody, if you don't know us, we've got a bromance. 13 years and counting, I think. Was once my official buddy at Influence, NSA's premier every year organization for speakers. And he was my buddy, and we've been best buds ever since. So good to see you again.
This is true. And we are here with my friend, Corey Perlman. Because, who knows where this is going to end up? My show, your show, our show. We could be on Broadway. We could take this, we could take this across the country. So it's like we're co-hosting and we're co-guesting at the same time. It's so great to be here with you.
Yeah. And it's kind of sprung up from a conversation you and I are having. So I want to in case people are only listening for the first 30 seconds, I see there being a big challenge ahead of all speakers, people who speak on stage, content experts, subject matter experts, any of us that make a living with words, paper, whatever. I think we got some dark days potentially ahead. And so I want to talk about that. And then I think you and some of my content are potentially the answer for that, or at least some of the answer to that. And it's all about AI. And so the interesting thing is, as you know, David, the big thing that everyone's talking about is how to use AI. All these different, features that you can use. And every day you wake up to something new that you can do with AI. And it's fascinating, entertaining, exciting, and all of that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the other side of it is I woke up one day and I said, I'm going to try something. And I went to ChatGPT and I said, create a social media presentation that's 60 minutes long, that's around authenticity, that's around helping people get more engagement and more views and doing better on business. And I gave it all these parameters, and it spit back a really, really good presentation with stories, with visuals, with everything that you need to take it to the stage and potentially use it for a very hefty speaking fee.
So I'm going to interrupt, because this is both deeply scary and maybe not so deeply scary. So for all those people that you mentioned, the speakers, the experts, the professional services firms, the consultants, the accountants, the whatever they are, the training companies, the coaching companies, if we were purely in the content business, if we were purely in the writing business especially, you could take that output that you were so impressed by, and you could say, here's my presentation, here's my detailed article for Harvard Business Review, here is my, LinkedIn, the next 52 weekly posts, and it's brilliant and engaging and wonderful. But I think we're not just based on our content, or clients don't come to us just based on us being good writers or good PowerPoint creators, good slide creators, that there's a delivery component, there's a relational component, there's a connectedness component, that you take your presentation, your article, all that amazing output that you just got from ChatGPT, and you separate it from Corey Perlman, the person, the expert, the social media guru, the digital social media agency owner. And it's just content. So content by itself, I don't think matters as much as content within a context. And the context is, we're having Corey come and speak to our national meeting. We're hiring Corey's company to strategize and manage our social media efforts. So what do you think about that here's all the content, here's the assets, steal my suitcase, steal my backpack that has my laptop, my notes, my PowerPoint, the copy of all my books, and good luck making a business out of that. Versus, no, Newman, I think you're wrong. I think once the content is out of the bag, everything else, you are screwed. And, I might as well go put on the green apron at Starbucks.
Hey, man, arguably a great living. There are a lot of perks to Starbucks, but
benefits, man, health benefits.
They got health benefits and good customer service. I agree with you that the end all be all is if we do things right, which is sort of the after part. I think the next stage of this conversation, then we're in the clear, or then we're better situated. If we are not careful, then I disagree with you. And I think that and you mentioned something which is kind of interesting. I said 5 years and you said, no, Corey, 2 years, maybe a year. So
that's right.
Let's not, shortchange ourselves. But so we're envisioning this. And for those who are listening, it's like an avatar, right? So it's like this person who does not have the same experience, who has not, earned the right, if you will, arguably, to get up on stage versus you, me, or any other speaker who has spent the last 10 years, 15 years, done the research, been on stage 1,000 times, listened to meeting planners, all the different things that we do to craft what we craft, versus this avatar who just overnight created this presentation. And my argument is, if we, the 15-year veterans, are not careful with the way we position ourselves on social and on marketing, on all that, then the meeting planner can be confused and potentially go with the other person. That's my argument.
Well, so let me take you back to the days before AI. Kids, look it up on Wikipedia. It's very exciting. There was a time before AI. So 10 years ago, I remember I was doing a program for our NSA Speakers Academy here in Philadelphia. And it's all new speakers. There was like 10 or 12 of them, and we're sitting around, and I just done a presentation. Now we're doing the Q&A. And one of the folks asks me, well, David, are you ever concerned about people stealing your stuff? And I said, well, not only am I not concerned about people stealing my stuff, and we can dig into that here in a moment because it totally relates to AI, but I told them a story that I was doing a presentation. I did my signature close. People come up to me afterwards. Oh, David, that was great. That was amazing. That was fantastic. One person says, oh, I'm so glad I came today. I have a presentation I'm doing next week, and I am totally using your closing. And I was flabbergasted. I was literally stunned. I had 5, 6 different things in my mind to say, only one mouth, and of course, other people were around. So I said, hey, break a leg during your presentation next week.
Wow.
I said, you can take my opening, you can take my closing, you can take my slides. And people have done that too. I said, but you're not going to be me. You don't have that context. You don't have the expertise to back up the stories, the punchlines, the funny, the closing, the emotion, whatever. So I wasn't concerned, and maybe I should have been, I don't know. I wasn't concerned 10 years ago about people stealing my stuff who, got it organically. They didn't have to use AI. So now people can go into ChatGPT, and I'm sure you've played with this, and say, act as social media expert Corey Perlman of Impact Social Media, right? They'll go to your website, they'll scrape your LinkedIn, they have their access to your books probably on Amazon, and write a compelling, exciting, professional-grade presentation that includes stories, metaphors, examples, humor, this detailed prompt. And prompt engineering is something else we can talk about. And it will spit out Corey Perlman Light, Corey Perlman Jr. I really, truly believe, put that in the hands of Joe Schmo down the street. I don't think Joe Schmo is going to get anywhere with that content. You're saying that the meeting planner might very well be dazed and confused because they are busy. They go 100 miles an hour always. This looks good. Let's bring this guy in. Let's say that they bring this guy in. Right now, the way AI is today, that person will get 1 gig. They will get one and only 1 gig. It will be so horrendous. It will be so terrible that this, it's almost like the old Hollywood, the Hollywood movies, the black and white movies where the studio head has the big cigar in his mouth and says, "Kid, you'll never work in this town again." And people and you know how this, you know what's at stake when you go up and do a big presentation. You screw it up, the world will find out that you are a goofball, a fraud, a phony, or just a terrible presenter. And so I don't think that person will get far, even if they have world-class content or stuff that you and I might create.
Okay. And I would say that, and the interesting thing, just so like, the end result we both agree upon, which is if the meeting planner knows it all and knows the differences between us and them, there is no comparison. So just be clear that I am on the same page with that. I would be willing to argue that this other person that you are portraying is not as bad as you may put them out to be. Maybe some of them are, but maybe they're decent. Like I said, maybe they got a little bit of charisma. Maybe they can play on stage and they just shortcutted their new topic. The example I might use is somebody struggling in the speaking business on the topic of, leadership or mental health or whatever the issue is. And it's like, well, I'm on social media, so they've been speaking. They even may have a personal brand. This is just their new topic or whatnot. So that person's a little bit more credible and there's more opportunity for the meeting planner to like them. And we both know a lot of speakers who are so and have done very well, and gotten a lot more than 1 gig. Let's be honest.
And, we don't know why. We don't know why that is.
Well, sometimes I think the meeting planners, this is what I would say, David, they don't know what they don't know. So they hired a speaker. They came in, they did an okay job. They didn't ask them where their sources were, how, it's like they're busy and, all these things. And part of the reason that I think you feel so confident in your stuff is because you're doing all the things that I'm concerned about other people that are not doing. It can take 10 seconds for somebody to go online and see the market eminence of David Newman.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what that means in just a moment. But it's very easy for somebody to see the 4D or whatever you want to call version of what you're going to get beyond the content when you just kick his tires for a half a moment. But there are others that aren't like that, David. And that's my concern for them is that if they're not doing some of the things that you and I are about to talk about, then they may lose to those other people.
Hey, super quick station break question. Have you seen our free executive briefing on elevating your CEO brand? Check it out right now at doitmarketing.com/webinar. And now back to the show. I don't want to sound arrogant or complacent because no one likes people who are arrogant or complacent. But let's look at this and let's zoom out one level and say, okay, large language models. What is a large language model like ChatGPT and all the other tools that are large language models? They have taken the aggregated information off the internet and they put it essentially in this huge ball. I always think of LLMs as this big ball. I don't know why. It could be a cube. It could be who knows what. Yeah. It could be bunny shaped. But now let's go to that leadership speaker who's new, just got laid off from some job, sees you, sees me. I've always wanted to be a speaker. I think leadership's a good topic. Jump into ChatGPT, write me an amazing presentation. Where's that query going? That query is going into my big ball of everything that has ever been written about and around leadership. And it will amalgamate, it will collate, it will aggregate all of that, and it will spit out some version of what has been said a million times, right? Pattern recognition, how often this shows up versus that shows up. These are all, I'm not using scientific terms, by the way, but that's how LLMs work, right? Large language model, LLM. It sounds weird. And so now you have a presentation that has a very strong likelihood of sounding like, looking like, and feeling like every other leadership presentation, because it was pulled out of this aggregated ball known as the internet. Now, maybe you have, and you should have, some very specific experiences, expertise, recommendations, biases, attitudes, opinions, where you want to vary significantly. You want to go off the template, and you want to say, a lot of people think leadership is about X. I'm here to tell you it's about Y. The characteristics of a great leader, you've read a million books. They say the characteristics are A, B, and C. I would argue they're actually D, E, and F. And now when you ask a meeting planner, do you want to hire a leadership speaker that's just going to recycle and regurgitate all the crap that all your previous leadership speakers have presented? Meeting planner goes, no, we're always looking for new voices, innovative ideas, people that bring a fresh perspective to the topic. I would argue, and again, I understand this is changing daily, and I'm probably wrong on some level, but I don't think ChatGPT is really all that great. It will tell you that, oh, here's a fresh perspective. Here's a contrarian view. Here's what most people don't know. But it's going to be extracted out of that same giant ball of amalgamated information. So, I think where a lot of people miss the boat, and you write about this in Authentically Social, it's not about what to do, right? What to do information was commoditized a long time ago, way before ChatGPT. It's what does Corey think, and how does Corey think about topic X, right? What is your unique lens? What is your slant? What is your angle? What are your war stories, experiences, battle scars of doing this for yourself and for your clients, and the roadblocks and the obstacles and the stories that you bring to the table that are authentically, and I would say unstealably yours? I don't think ChatGPT or any large language model is there yet for that authentic level of expertise.
Okay, so for anyone who's jumping in, we're talking about AI, but I feel like in a very different direction, which we both believe and love how exciting it is and use it every day. I use it every day. You use it every day. There's no question.
Totally.
This isn't about how to use AI. It's more about whether or not AI is a threat to our businesses or not, and how to AI proof our business. That was really what the topic when you and I wanted to get on about this. So I would say to you, I agree that the meeting planner wants new, they want relevant, and they want edgy. I think social media wants that too. I think the world wants that, a little bit of a different perspective. Nobody wants the same regurgitated. I would respectfully disagree that ChatGPT AI can't create that type of content. And I've seen it. Now, it might be pulling the wool over our eyes, and it may, if you actually really boiled it down, is not necessarily different. But again, I go back to, we don't know what we don't know. And I can put something together within AI that will fool most people, maybe not you, but most people, that this is new, that this is unique, and this is contrarian. And oftentimes feels better than anything I've created. And that's scary. It's scary.
And it's funny, I have said this in casual conversation. I've heard friends and colleagues say this. I put something in ChatGPT, and what came back was better than what I could have written organically. I guess we have to define, what does better mean? Right? Is it more detailed? Is it more nuanced? Is it more powerful? Is the language more direct, clear? Right? Some people have, so this is fascinating. Some people have terrific ideas. They are not great messengers of that message.
Right.
There are people that have totally commoditized, nonsensical ideas that are just same crap recycled, who are excellent presenters, right? So they are fantastic messengers of a so-so message. If we just look at that, let's just look at great message, messenger's kind of wobbly, right? Messenger is awesome, message is garbage. Do you think there's a difference between which one of those two professionals is more in danger with AI?
Yeah, and I really look kind of you're one, obviously one of my closest confidants and friends, and you know, I look to you, and so you are a great example of this. And this is what's so interesting about coming from purely our own perspectives. You are so good at creating bold content. You're a marketer. You know how to create stuff that people want to see, whereas that's a weakness for a lot of us. And so what's a strength to you and seems kind of like, guys, why can't you, like, you'll riff and you'll come up with these powerful things that are hooks. And I'm like, damn, you know, and that's so for us, I think ChatGPT and AI is so helpful when we're feeling like, gosh, we've got a great source of content. The meat is great here, but the package around it sucks. You know, I can't hook. It's the hook, right? It's like, so when I go to ChatGPT, it's create a hook that is, I usually use the word controversial or provocative is the word I use, David. Give me a provocative hook that will get people to want to watch this really good material more. And it will give me more so than I can create myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I think is where it's super helpful.
Wait. We're not just going to listen to this episode. There are downloads, there are resources, there are links, there are bonuses waiting for you on this episode's page when you go over to doitmarketing.com/podcast. That's right, doitmarketing.com/podcast. Grab the notes right under this episode. See you over there. So, is there a difference between ChatGPT and hiring an army? And let's say money is no object here. Hiring an army of writers and content creators and copywriters and people who can, organic humans. Because there are people, right? The whole entertainment industry, of course, is based on writers, producers, etc. There's a whole bunch of people behind the stars that we know. Business people, right? CEOs, founders, speakers, experts. If we had the Hollywood writers' room behind us, would that be different than AI?
I think that they would be having the same challenges that we're having to some degree. I mean, I think that their jobs we're all wondering how big of a threat this is to our business.
Yeah.
But I will go back. I do want to because we're about 25 minutes into this, and I want to go back to the.
Oh, no one's left. No one's watching or listening to this. It's just you and me again.
They have to come before they leave. But the heart of the message is what we fully agree upon. So it's not necessarily of whether or not we are truly at risk. It's more of how to AI proof our business. And my belief is, and this is where I think the reason I wanted to get on with you is because you have a book coming out called Marketing Eminence. And I believe that the subject matter in that book is what people need to do to AI proof themselves. So what I do day in and day out is I look at subject matter experts online and look at their presence. And what I can tell you is a lot of them, it's tough to tell what their marketing eminence is. And maybe let me just take a step back. If you were to define marketing eminence, if you want to riff on that for a second, would you mind defining that for us?
Sure, totally. So market eminence is a combination of visibility and credibility and brand preference. So visibility means that you have to be putting your face and your voice and your content out in the marketplace in front of whatever audience is important to you, if it's prospects, if it's talent, if it's investors, if it's partners, all of the above. Credibility means that you have to be a student of the game. You have to know your target market so well that when they see your content, they immediately go, this guy gets it. And more importantly, this guy gets me. He understands my business, my problems, my circumstances, my situation, my frustrations. And then brand preferences, your voice has to be so unique and so distinct. And it's those things that you mentioned, being contrarian, being different, going against the grain, rocking the boat, blowing up some sacred cows, that they say, this person is unique. This person is like a category of one, like Joe Calloway used to say.
Mm-hmm.
And we can work with all these look-alike, same-o, lame-o options over here, or we can go with the premium choice over here.
And that therein lies where we come together, because you mentioned those lamos over there. And my argument early on was ChatGPT is making it easier to create more lamos.
True.
So our market eminence is going to be the difference between the meeting planner choosing us over potentially those folks. And where you and I come together in a very beautiful symbiotic way is all those 3 points that you mentioned. What I look for is putting that online. So you help them, and your book will help them craft what that is.
Yes.
And then my world is seeing that come to fruition online. In mostly social media, maybe an online newsletter, website, YouTube channel, things of that nature. And so my point to the audience listening is, when somebody goes and checks you out online, can they quickly tell that you have this market eminence, that there is something about you that they want beyond your content? And then how do we give that to them? How do we visually, or what's the delivery mechanism to show somebody that we are so light years beyond any of these lamos that created their content on ChatGPT?
Well, let's look at what you and I are doing right now. You could have gone into ChatGPT, created this beautiful article. I could have gone into ChatGPT, created this beautiful article. Would you say in this AI environment, everyone now has access to these amazing tools that create written content? You can argue this next thing I'm going to say, but I don't think video avatars are quite there yet. Is video something that is more authentic, more relatable, more valuable in the age of AI, or even things like this, right? Podcasts, podcast guesting, podcast hosting, where the human still has to show up to some degree, and it cannot be outsourced or digitized or AI-ified to the extent that text can.
Let me use a really good friend of mine named David Newman as an example.
I love this guy.
He's a good dude. And I know that seems like a love fest, but this is a real example. I mean, I can't think of a better example than this. But when I saw you speak at the Atlanta chapter, we won't mention how many years ago it was, but it was a decent amount of years ago. There was a mixture of content and riffing and ad-libbing that made the medicine go down so easily.
Yeah.
Walked the room. You kind of poked fun at certain things. You riffed with people. You did live audits. You were having just as much fun as we were. You worked the room.
Yeah.
There is a eminence around seeing you or hearing you that does not give your content justice on paper. And so what I would say the ... to that is in order for you to win over these lamos, we must show what I just talked about on your digital footprint.
So that's really interesting. What we're saying is that we have to have some sort of documentation of the experiential component of what we do. So not just what is it like to work with us? What does it feel like to work with us?
That is, to me, I mean, I don't want to boil down your book to one word, but one of the words I think is feel.
Yeah.
Feel. How does it feel? And to, there are some writers out there, don't get me wrong, who can invoke that emotion. But if I had a camera on you in parts of that presentation, they would feel what it's like to be in the room with you.
Yeah.
And I think and let me just be clear, beyond that, doing this, people can see, like, very quickly, they see some of David Newman's, secret sauce, of course. So it's a mixture. It's not just seeing you in action speaking. It's hearing you on podcasts. It's, a visual representation with what I call a Newmanism quote.
Yeah.
That we pull off of. And it's some B-roll footage stuff, so it's you and you designated your lovely wife as the hot one, doing some things with Gracie the dog and seeing some of that eminence that's a part of your life and I think all of that creates that magic onion that is you.
So going forward, as we're landing the plane on this episode, what should people, do you think, start doing more of, and what should they stop doing if they want to AI proof their business?
I think it really boils down. I mean, if I had to boil it down to two words, I'm going to say video and feel are two words that you said that really percolated with me. That if they took two words from this episode, how do you make people feel when they see your stuff online? And a freaking great mechanism for that is video. And good news for all of us, LinkedIn's algorithm is only asking for video more and more every day we go on. That's what I would say. What would you say?
I think it's important to get out from behind the keyboard. And so that obviously also leads to video, but it's also about going out into the field, right? And you've been teaching and preaching this for years, right? People are hungry for the authentic behind the scenes. Show them how the sausage is made. And this is also, I put this in the Market Eminence book. I said, the more that you expose your process, don't just say, hey, we have this new consulting model. We have this new amazing SaaS product. Boom, here it is. Show people the process. Show, what did it look like when it was in alpha? What did it look like when it was in beta? What things were broken, missing, funky, and sad that you and the engineers had to scratch your heads and work on? And show me the late night hackathon pizza party that you had to have to fix that one bug that everyone was complaining about. Because people say, well, how will the market know that I'm the originator of whatever it is? Well, if you just announce, ta-da, here's my thing, right? But there was no backstory, there was no documentation, there was no video or images of That's you true. Sweating and figuring it out and breaking things and customer complaints and you going out to visit clients and prospects. That story now needs to be expressed in 3D.
Yes.
With video, with images, with narrative, because you can't still, in the age of AI, luckily, Mr. Corey Perlman, you cannot fake being authentically social, at least not yet.
I completely agree with you. And I'm so glad because we may have skipped over that piece, but you mentioned it. I just want to really quickly say, like a SaaS product. Again, and people can argue this, but you could probably go into ChatGPT right now and create that product. I'm sorry, but you can't. People can argue all day long, and it's kind of like you're denying the problem. So instead, if your genius and a team of geniuses has created this unique IP, then you need to show people what it took to get there, the sausage is made, to show why you should go with A over B, where somebody arguably could have created that in 15 minutes. And if you're going to invest 6 figures, 7 figures in a new SaaS product, don't you want the one that somebody put blood, sweat, and tears in for the last 3 years versus somebody overnight? So yes, showing the proof. We mentioned AI proof.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes is showing the proof.
Yes.
I love that.
So our 3 words then,
yes,
video, feel, proof.
Yes. I think those are great 3 words to land on. I think there's an opportunity for another part of this. I hope you mentioned prompts.
Yes.
And talking about, and maybe some of the execution possibilities of now taking, I'd love to maybe interview you a little bit more on how they're going to get to Market Eminence, and then maybe a little back and forth on execution. Because one thing I know people are going to say to themselves is, holy cow, it sounds like a lot of work. And I think what we can help them with is we're both, small armies. So what can we do from an efficiency standpoint to do Market Eminence in the most efficient way possible?
Yes. Yes. And I think the other thing, the other PS to add on to this is you and I both love AI. AI is not the enemy. AI is this really amazing tool and platform and accelerator of our authenticity, and it's our accelerator of our market eminence, but it needs to be used in the right way. And it cannot be used carelessly or to create cheap shortcuts.
You made me laugh because I thought to myself, no, I mean, AI is arguably one of my best friends. I need some therapy around that in itself. But I love AI. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
But there's another side of it that scares me to death. And that
True.
was it's like, this is the dichotomy that we need to continue to talk about.
Yeah. And we will.
And we will. See you next time. Thanks, everybody.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.